I'm Michael Brown alongside my partner, Andre Anderson, and we are here for day three of the Tom Bichy soccer tournament. We have just one match on hand today, but it is the most highly anticipated match of the weekend. We've got the number one team in the country, Monroe, who you saw in action yesterday against Hartford, taking on the host team, the Montgomery College Raptors. Andre, this should be a great one.
Yeah, this is going to be a good one. Two teams that know each other very well. Two teams that, are looking to make it back to the national tournament. Two teams that are looking to win the whole thing as well. So this is going to be a very competitive match.
Well, these two teams played in last year's tournament. The result was certainly not what Montgomery College hoped for, as they dropped at 8-0. But they fought back at the end of the season to beat the number one team in the country, who at the time was Monroe, to uh, to beat them in the district semifinals. And then the Raptors went on to win the districts the next day when they beat Monroe Community College, not to be confused with Monroe College. So we're gonna step out right now. We're gonna listen to the starters to be introduced. We'll have the national anthem, and then we'll be right back. All right. Well, we are back, and we're watching the starting players be introduced to the audience. It's a very warm day here, Andre, and I think that's going to be a big factor.
Yeah, with it being this hot, I mean, the energy from these players are going to get drained really quick. A lot of running is not what they're going to want to do. So possession on the ball, moving it back and forth is definitely the game plan going into this one.
Well, and let's run down who's going to be starting for both teams, and then we'll talk a little bit more about what we anticipate today. Starting for Monroe, number 2, Manuel Cordero. Number 4, Shotaro Kino. Number 5, Stev Thallinger. Number 7, Sunai Yamamoto. Number 8, Tiago Jose da Silva. Number 9, Tal Torgeman. Number 10, Felipe Aruda. Number 12, Riku Yamasaki. Number 17, Taiga Matoba. Number 37, Ryosuke Tanaka. And number 77, Rodrigo Bichy Piera Miera Aruda.
Good job.
And starting for the Raptors, in goal, number 1, Thomas Morrow. Number 29, Amadou Koita. Number 5, Brian Newchang. Number 6, Andreas De Castro Sanchez. Number 10, Oliver Skinner. Number 14, Carl Romberg. Number 15, Daniel Minhas. Number 20, Andres Rojas. Number 23, Ish Singh Grewal. Number 24, Cesare Biaggi. Number 28, Simon Takobai. So those are your starters for the Raptors and also the starters for the Mustangs from Monroe. And I want to talk to Andre right up top. We have now seen both teams in action.
Mm-hmm.
The Raptors played on Friday night.
Yeah.
They tied Harcum 1-1. And then we saw Monroe yesterday in action against Hartford, where they totally dominated and won 4-0.
Mm-hmm.
After seeing the number 1 team in the country in action yesterday, what do these Raptors need to be doing today to try to pull out the win?
So they're going to need to press Monroe from the beginning. Now, when I say that, I don't necessarily mean for them to, push all the way up the field, be in their opposing team's half, but I do think that they cannot give anybody on Monroe time or space, because with that, this team is so comfortable on the ball, they're going to be able to, pick it up from where they are, play a long ball over the top, play a long ball diagonal, move the ball left and right, and all those things are going to make MC run and run and run. And in this heat, that is not what they're going to want to do.
We're looking at a temperature today in the mid-90s. And of course, they're playing on a beautiful artificial turf surface. However, one of the drawbacks of artificial turf is the heat that emanates from it.
Mm-hmm.
For example, yesterday, which was a considerably cooler day, the surface temperature on the artificial turf was 102 degrees.
That is crazy.
And the high temperature yesterday was mid-80s. So you're talking 10 degrees higher temperature today.
Mm-hmm.
And how that's going to correspond to the turf is problematic, I think. So we are underway. Raptors in white, and the Mustangs, they are in a blue and gold striped jersey. So the Raptors have got their work cut out for them. I've got to say, really impressed with Monroe yesterday. Their passing is exceptional. There's a great goal kick. Keeper for Monroe today is number 12, Yamasaki.
Yeah, yesterday he didn't have too much action as Monroe just dominated possession of the ball. But today could be a lot different for him.
Yeah, I would think it should be. Obviously, Montgomery College hopes that it is. I don't think it's any exaggeration to say that Monroe probably had the ball 90% of the time yesterday against Hartford.
Yeah,
I've never seen anything quite like it.
It was definitely a one-sided game to say the least. But I mean, if you're looking already, I don't think yesterday at all Hartford had a corner. MC already seems to have a corner. And if you do remember as well, in that first game they played in this tournament, They scored off a corner. So
That's right.
yeah, these can be opportunities for them to get an early goal. They know that they're good in the air. They have tall players, so these are going to be critical for them every time that they happen.
Carl Romberg is taking the kick for the Raptors. It's always a scoring
Good ball.
opportunity. There's a whoop. They did get ahead on it, Koita, but wasn't able to convert. But he did get ahead on it.
So far, so good. As long as they don't sit back, they feel comfortable, they press. It's going to be interesting.
It really is. This is a highly anticipated matchup. These teams have a history, as we briefly mentioned earlier. Um, Two of the top programs in the country. Both teams went to nationals last year. Monroe ended up winning the national championship. Despite their loss to Montgomery College in the division semis, they were granted a bye to the national tournament because of their record, because of their lofty ranking. They were number one in the country when MC knocked them off 4-1 in the districts. That loss dropped them down to number 3, but that was still good enough to qualify them for a bye to get into the tournament, where they ran the table and won the national championship. So they're on the attack now.
And you see that MC, they are right on the backs of these Monroe players. Every time the ball is played into them, they're not giving them time to turn. They're not giving them space. And so far, it's been causing some havoc for this Monroe team. They've been playing a bit frantic compared to yesterday.
Yeah, yesterday they just were not pressed.
Not at all.
And they just took their sweet time. The back line, the midfielders, they just took their sweet time. And today, well, obviously Montgomery College scouted that game. I'm sure the entire coaching staff, as well as the players, watched it.
What a strike, though.
Wow. Morrow extends himself.
Yeah, luckily the ball went wide, but that's that thing that I was talking about, giving them space. They like to pass the ball, and they can get all the way into the 18-yard box, but they also have the ability to shoot from outside the 18.
Well, they did pile up 4 goals yesterday from 4 different players. Morrow is from Canada. Raptors with a both teams, but the Raptors in particular with a very international lineup. They're starting players from all over the world, which is emblematic of Montgomery College. After all, the college has students from over 155 countries. So it's no surprise that an international sport like soccer would have an international roster. That's going to set up a corner, I believe. Yep. No, it's going to be a throw-in.
Offsides?
Offsides. That'll turn the ball over to the Raptors. Again, the Heat, both teams are deep. Both teams have deep benches. Both teams with over 25 players on the roster. So I would imagine there's going to be fairly liberal substitutions going on today to try to keep these players fresh and healthy. And we haven't heard officially, but I am assuming, Andre and I are both assuming, that there are planned water breaks.
That's what I'm thinking as well. If they had one yesterday, they're definitely going to have one today.
There's another dangerous ball.
Time and space. There we go.
I'll tell you, the defense for Monroe, we really didn't get a very good idea of their strength on the back line because they were not challenged yesterday.
Not at all. But we're seeing here, MC's putting on the pressure. And like I'm saying earlier, it's going to be a different ball game today. But you see, once again, Monroe is going to try to do what they always do, and that's hold on to the ball, that's possess, frustrate the other team by not letting them touch it at all.
Right. This is where the chasing, particularly on a day like this, can really start to wear a team down. There's a good play there to break that up. So but they are an extremely patient team. They don't seem to be fazed by the clock at all. And here's what they love to do: get it down the corner, and then try a cross. Saw a lot of this yesterday, Andre.
We did. They love to get the ball in the middle of the park, and then from there, find the two wingers who are very quick.
Yeah, their wingers are quick. They're fast.
Here they go again, getting the ball out wide, but they're going to take their time. Oh, wow.
Great footwork.
This is number 7.
That's Yamamoto.
Yeah, Yamamoto.
We were impressed with him yesterday.
Very composed on the ball. Loves to find it in that number 10 position, which is more like the attacking mid position. Right behind the forward, but maybe right in front of the center midfielders. And he likes to float in that area, play make from there.
So there's a foul on the Raptors. That'll set up a free kick for, and that's number 10, Aruda, who another guy we were very impressed with yesterday. Well, their whole team, frankly, is an impressive team.
Yeah.
I mean, they are, after all, the number 1 team in the country for a reason.
Yeah.
They are 3-0 on the season so far, and they have yet to be scored on. They have recorded 3 shutouts. They opened the season with a 5-0 shutout over USC Sumter. They followed that up the very next day with an 8-0 shellacking of USC Lancaster. And of course, yesterday they shut out Harvard 4-0. So they have yet to be scored on, and they are undefeated. The Raptors are undefeated as well. They are 3-0-1. The one tie coming Friday night on the first day of the Tom Bichy tournament, 1-1 versus a very, very talented Harcum team. The Raptors have also had wins over Carroll, 1-0. Catonsville, CCBC Catonsville, 1-0. And then they shellacked Cecil 14-1 this past week.
I like that word, slack. The slacking.
Well, 14-1. It doesn't get much worse in soccer, does it?
Oh, not at all.
That's a tough one to be on the short end of.
Good turn.
Yeah, that's a very good turn. Now they've got something going. The Raptors are playing without one of their key defenders today. Jason Guevara, unfortunately, got a red card on Friday night, and by NJCAA rules, he's unable to play today. So that's a bad break for the Raptors. Andre, you saw the game. What happened on that? Did you happen to see the card?
He had 2 yellow cards. So the first one, don't exactly remember what happened, but he had a yellow, and then that second one was more of a late foul as well, late in the game. So it kind of put the team behind, a man down towards the end of the game. But MC was down at that point, and a goal, and they still were able to put a goal into the net side of the game. So they did very well for being a man down.
Well, that's for sure. So they scored a man down.
Mm-hmm.
Off a corner, which, as we said earlier, is very often a scoring opportunity.
Good block by Cesare, the Italian right back, and it's going to be a corner.
That's going to set up a corner. It's a good look at Morrow. And number 5, Ballinger. Water is going to be essential today. And taking that kick is, I believe that's number 7. So he's a sub. Or is that number? Yeah, it looks like Deme. He took several corners yesterday. And Raptors are going to get possession back. Let's talk coaches for a minute. The head coach for Monroe is Marcus DiBernardo. He's in his 15th season. He's won 2 national championships. His assistants are Jonathan Avila, Philip Kula, Massimo Garullo, and Jay Myers. And the head coach for the Montgomery College Raptors is Pedro Braz. Under Braz, the Raptors have won 5 Region 20 titles in 6 years. This is his second stint at Montgomery College. He was here from 2012 to 2014. He went to nationals every single season, and then he returned a couple of years ago after a head coaching stint at Gallaudet University. He now has 97 career wins at Montgomery College, so he is just 3 wins away from a milestone victory for his career. His assistants, he has a goalkeeping coach, Kareem Mumbai. His operations coordinator and top assistant is Scott Payne. Scott is also the person behind the very innovative and popular MC Men's Soccer social media presence. They have a very strong, and Andre knows a lot about social media, so I think you're pretty impressed with what he's been doing.
I'm very impressed. I actually had to ask him when I was seeing things come out. I'm like, Coach Scott, who's doing your social media? He said he was. I was like, oh my, I need to learn from you.
Yeah, he's quite good at it. And then the third assistant is Isaac Mensa Yaboa. So it's no exaggeration, Andre, to say these are 2 of the best head coaches in the NJCAA.
They are. And I have experience with Coach Pedro in 2013. I was one of his players. So
one of his co-captains.
Yeah, one of his co-captains, yes. So I do know how good of a coach he is, and he knows the game from the coaching side, but also from the player side because he played at a national level, international level. He played in college as well for University of New Hampshire, so he knows exactly what he's talking about. And he's a serious guy too, so you definitely listen when he speaks.
He played in Europe, if I'm not mistaken. He also played in was it Central America or?
I'm not exactly sure, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
He was
Oh, wow.
Wow, that's a yellow.
Did they pull the card out?
That's a yellow.
He's pulling the card out.
Yep.
Wow. That was a little rough. A lot rough.
Wow.
That's a yellow card. One more of those, and he's going to have a little talking to as well. Number 10, he's trying to shake hands. I don't think the official wants any parts of that. That is Felipe Aruda, and they can ill afford to lose him.
Yeah, they look like a frustration type of foul, which is showing you MC is really putting on the pressure to this Monroe team because Aruda was behind.
And he hit him with an elbow.
Yeah, that was a pretty rough one.
Yeah, he clocked him pretty good. And we expect this to be fairly physical. And the Raptor who who got clocked there is Andre Sanchez, and now he's getting lip from number 9, Tal Torgeman. I bet you know what's being said there.
Oh,
Torgeman's probably accusing him of faking it.
yeah, of course. I mean, the thing about it's in every sport, you feel like you never foul anybody, even when you foul them, and you're saying, oh, he's diving or he's doing this, but half the time, no, you did foul him.
So Sanchez gets called for a foul on a slide tackle. So already we've had some fireworks. No score yet. We're about 20 minutes into it, just short of 20 minutes into it. And again, we're anticipating that there will be planned water breaks for this one, given the temperature. As I was driving to the field today, it was 92.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Do we get a water break as well?
No, MCTV does not permit water breaks. We're coming to you by way of MCTV, and really happy to be here. We've enjoyed this entire weekend. That's way out of, way over the net. And the ref is not sure. I thought he was going to ask for a little conversation, but to cool things off. But we talked about this yesterday. I still don't understand how one guy, one ref, can keep control of everything.
Yeah, it's definitely not easy. I mean, there's so much going on. There's players everywhere. They do have linesmen, but they're half the time they're so far away, So, shout out to all the refs. It's not easy.
Yeah, you'd almost think they'd have one ref at each end.
Yeah.
Those refs do as much running as the athletes.
Seriously, they're up and down as well.
There's a nice ball. Raptors can't get to it. Number 15, Daniel Minhas. Now there's the pressure. They didn't face this yesterday, but boy, Aruda is good.
Yeah, he is.
His footwork is very, very good. He's very quick.
Yeah, calm on the ball as well.
Oh, and Aruda just went down.
Yellow card for New Chang. Bit of a body check right there. I understood what he was doing, especially as a center back. I played that position. Two people kind of going toward the same place. And he's a strong guy. I mean, he did put a little bit into that. But a yellow card is kind of harsh for an early kind of foul like that.
Yeah, they were both going for it. It's not like the yellow card that Aruda just picked up where he clocked Sanchez from behind with his elbow. This was two guys going hard for the ball.
Yeah.
Maybe he felt that New Chang put a little too much into the collision. But Aruda did a nice sales job.
Yeah, he did. He knew what he was doing.
Oh yeah, he's been around the block. I guarantee it. And they are so far we haven't seen too much of what we saw yesterday, which is those wingers streaking down there, getting the ball, and then just having their way with it inside the 18.
Yeah, it's because the center midfielders haven't been able to have as much time and space as they had yesterday, because that's kind of what's the engine of his team. You're going to see this ball go out wide right here. This is what they like to do. He's going to get it right back, number 2, turn. He's looking for that winger right now.
Yes.
He's looking, as the winger on the right-hand side is moving, he's looking, but you see this is what's happening. The pressure,
New Chang was way up.
Exactly. The pressure from MC is not allowing Monroe to play exactly how they played yesterday.
Now that is really questionable. I'm sorry. I don't want to be a hometown fan here, but that was a very questionable call. They're both going for the ball again.
Exactly. And yeah, he fell, but he just was off balance.
They did stop the clock for this. So it is a much rougher game
He's
than we
getting
saw
yellow now.
yesterday.
Now he's picking up that yellow. There's that battle in there. Aruda is battling right now with Romberg.
Romberg got the yellow.
Yeah.
That's 2 yellows on MC and 1 so far on Monroe. We didn't see any of this yesterday.
Mm-mm.
Let's hope they don't let it deteriorate. I know the coaches want them to be aggressive, and the players are naturally competitive and aggressive. So, but it's the beautiful game too. We want to keep it that way. Sun kind of went behind a cloud a little bit. That might help a little in terms of the heat, but not much. It's a little more humid today too. Last couple of days, the humidity has been amazingly low for this area for this time of year. So the Raptors patient. Here comes an attack. Tried to take it away. The Raptors were ready.
Gave it away right here.
Yeah, he did.
It's not a good place to lose the ball.
Not a good place. Raptors need to get it out of there.
They're looking for Aruda and they're looking for the Yamamoto
Right.
to kind of just facilitate this game because not much has been going on, but oof. But they still have had the majority of possession.
They have. They have. They have definitely dominated possession. But it's drastically different than yesterday. They're playing. This is. Oh, look at that. Morrow with a great stop. Just took it right off his toe.
Mm-hmm. That was good goalkeeping right there.
Excellent. Thomas Morrow from St. Edmund Campion High School in.
Good ball over the top.
Beautiful.
Offsides.
Oh. Yep. Offside flag is up. We anticipate a good crowd here today. I think the only reason we would fall short of that is the heat. But a good bit of the stands are in the shade, which makes it bearable.
Yeah.
Because it is warm. There's a good ball up.
Okay.
And that'll be a goal kick for the Raptors.
Seeming like water break time.
And yes, be a water break midway through the first half. We have no score. And the player's going to take a little break here, which is a very, very smart thing to do.
Yeah, safety first, health first.
So we see a lot of the Raptors women's team here rooting on their cohorts. Raptors women's team played yesterday against Mercer and came out on top 2-0.
They played really well. Played really, really well.
Both goals were scored by Berenice Machado, and I saw her after the game and asked her how she was doing, and she kind of shook her head, and I said, "You wanted that third goal, didn't you?" She said, "I sure did." But she scored both goals for the Raptors as they won 2-0.
Yeah, she's a very, very good and skillful player for that women's Raptors team. I know they're very happy to have her.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. She's a skilled player, very, very skilled with the ball. and found the back of the net 2 times yesterday. It's been a great weekend. We had 4 games on Friday. We had 2 games yesterday, and now we top it off with this matchup today. So once again, the Tom Bichy tournament has lived up to the advanced billing. Uh, Pedro Braz, who is also, we should point out, the assistant athletic director for Montgomery College. He's the guy, basically the guiding force behind this tournament, and he put the field together, and he never shies away from putting a tough field together.
Oh, not at all. He's not one of the coaches that just wants to sit back, play all the, maybe the teams that wouldn't give his team much of a competition. Coach Pedro is always looking to play the best. Because if you're the best, you want to play the best. And if you believe in yourself, why not make that the situation? So that's what he's doing here, having top teams in the Tom Bichy tournament.
There's a good look at Pedro as we're talking about him.
Yeah, so he's not afraid of anyone, and he wants to just take on the best.
Well, and as I learned yesterday from talking with him, the Raptors need to be playing. Oh, there's another good stop by Morrow, but another good attack by Monroe. The Raptors need, in terms of recognition in the polls, they need to play a tough schedule.
Yeah, I mean, for them to move up, they were ranked 12th in the nation last year. Moved into this season unranked.
Which is weird.
Yeah, I do not understand that, but that is, nothing or something that I can't control.
Nope.
But yes, for them to continue to move up in the rankings again, for them to be, recognized around the nation as one of the best teams in the country, they do need to play these top teams in the NJCAA D1 division.
And of course, another reason why he wants to play a good schedule, a tough schedule, is to showcase his players' ability. He had, there's been a tremendous amount of turnover between last year and this year.
Oh, wow, breakaway.
Here's a breakaway. Morrow is going to really be.
No, that's not a foul. That is not a foul.
That is a great play by Morrow. Just
Great
an
job.
Absolutely super play.
Great job by the goalkeeper. I mean, he has been solid throughout this tournament, and a one-on-one opportunity like that is never really in favor for the goalie.
No, absolutely not. He's on his heels. He is, clearly in a defensive position,
Mm-hmm.
and he has to commit. And that's and sometimes you commit and you guess wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But boy, he committed big time and just smothered that shot. Monroe wanted a foul, but no. No, two guys are allowed to go after the ball. But anyway, back to what I was saying. The Raptors, after last season's great season, they were 16 and let me double check myself, but yes, they were 16-5 last year, 9-2 in. That's a shame. Two Raptors collided as they were both going for what would have been a shot opportunity.
Yeah, a really good one as well.
But he lost a lot of players, but most of those players, the vast majority of those players, ended up going to four-year schools with scholarship. Boy, that was another great play by Morrow. He is being tested by, that was shot by Gunha Lee. We saw a lot of him yesterday. Now the Raptors on the attack.
Holding him a little bit. That's not usually the best place to foul. You're having them in their own defensive third. That's a great ball. Loads much power.
And
Good idea.
It goes out of bounds. So it'll be Raptors ball. So the Raptors have just 7 as a result of all those graduations last year. The Raptors have just 7 sophomores on their team out of a roster of close to 30. A little bit different story with Monroe. They have again, they have a large roster, close to 25, 30 on the team, and more than half their players are sophomores. So they definitely have the experience advantage. No score. We are well into the first half.
Monroe's doing what they do best, just holding on to the ball, being patient. As I say that, commentators curse, they lose it. And now they
Oh, Raptors got an opportunity here. You see what they can do with it.
oh
Ah,
blocked shot.
yep, it was partially blocked.
But it seems like that counterattack is going to be something that MC can take advantage of, because if Monroe's gonna hold on to the ball and try to, put you to sleep by passing it back and forth like it's like a lullaby almost. The thing is, they're also kind of getting themselves out of position. And if they lose the ball in any of these spots where they're trying to just move it around, MC can take advantage of that, have their wingers go down the field, because Monroe doesn't care where they play with the ball. They'll play within their own half. And if they can win it there, good chance to score.
That block by Monroe was by Mariah, Florentino Mariah.
Good save. Oh, just wide.
Oh my goodness. Boy, Morrow is really being tested. That was Tanaka, I believe. I caught his number. Yeah, that's Tanaka. One of the starters for Monroe. So Morrow has really been tested, and so far he has been more than up to the challenge. Here's the break. Oh, very close. That was Nathan Booth for the Raptors, number 2. Almost picked one up there. Nathan's a sub. He did not start.
Great ball again, but Thomas is there off his line. He is really having himself a good game today.
He is one of the few sophomores on the Raptors team. And that's a good place to have an experienced player is in net.
100%.
Here they go again. Starting to see a little more aggressive play by the Raptors on the. That's going to be knocked out. Let's see if they win a corner out of that.
Yeah, it's going to be a corner.
Yep, it'll be a corner. And looks like Romberg again will take the kick.
MC definitely has a height advantage.
Yes, they do.
You're seeing a couple players 6 foot and above. I mean, there's even a 6'4", 6'5" player on the field as well.
Yeah.
So
29, Amadou Koita is about 6'5", and Nathan Booth is tall as well, number 2. So let's see what happens. Koita. No, that was Ish. That was Ish Singh Graywall with the header attempt. Now, he's the one who scored the tying goal the other night for the Raptors against Harkham.
Yeah, he did. Off a corner kick as well. Solid header. He's also one of the captains of the team. Very good player. Solid defender.
Excellent defender. And a very, very nice guy.
Yeah, he is. Very good young man.
Comes another attack. Wide of the mark. That was Lee again.
Yeah, he's a definitely a threat. The ball hasn't been on that right side since he came in. It's been hanging out over here on the Monroe attacking left side. They're trying to find him as much as possible.
Raptors pressing. This is something we did not see yesterday, as Harford was sort of content to sit back.
Oh,
Oh, nice looking ball. Can he beat it? No. Oh, that was a sweet opportunity.
that was Romberg in the midfield, number 14 for MCs. He seems like he can be a playmaker over there. He's a definitely a threat every time he touches the ball. So MC should continue to try to find his feet.
Nathan Booth is doing a lot of running out there for the Raptors. And after that sprint to the ball, he looked a little bit tired.
Yeah.
I can't say as I blame him.
Yeah, not at all.
Now they got it in danger land
Oh,
again.
wow.
Oh, they're going to call a foul.
Right outside the box.
Oh, that is going to be a very dangerous situation. Monroe not happy. The look on his face says it all. This will be a challenge. Now, who takes the shot for Monroe? There's no card, but it is a foul. I had to guess, I'd say it looks like Gunha Lee is going to take the shot.
Wouldn't be a bad choice.
Raptors putting up the line.
Yeah,
this is really
dangerous.
Yeah. This is
Yeah,
quite the opportunity here for Monroe.
5 people in the wall for MC.
And well, they're going to try to do some funny business here, but my guess is no.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I saw that coming. I saw that coming. Number 6, Diogo Bastos with the goal. I had a feeling they were going to try something like that where Gunha makes a step and the other guy comes in.
Yeah, with the free kicks being that close to the 18-yard box, it's hard for, especially if you're on the left-hand side, a right-footed kicker or even a left-footed kicker to get the ball over the wall and to come back down and get into the goal because there's not really that much, space for that to be the case.
Right.
So what we did see there is the ball kind of shot around the wall, and it worked perfectly for Monroe.
Just like you draw it up. So Monroe takes a 1-0 lead here with just over 11 minutes to go in the first half. And you absolutely cannot fault Morrow for that.
Oh, not at all.
I mean, good grief, it would have been an incredible thing if he had saved it. He's not Superman, folks. He's played that way.
Yeah.
But up to this point, but he is, he's a living, breathing human being. He's not worried about kryptonite. So now let's see what Monroe tries to do. And another call. Card Who picked up the card this time, Andre?
I think it was Amadou, number 29.
Hmm. So that hurts, because that's going to set up another very, very dangerous situation.
Yeah, and this is a little bit further back than the last one, gives the free kick taker actually more space, and it makes kind of opposite sense. But from this point, they're actually in a better spot than they were in the previous
I
point.
agree with you 100%. He's got a little more room to work with. And they try the same thing, except Gun Ali bangs it into the wall. This time they went the other way. So we've really enjoyed being here at the Tom Bichy tournament this weekend. It's been great working with you, Andre. And the exciting thing is that MCTV is going to be back later this fall with more Raptor sports, both soccer and volleyball, men's and women's soccer and women's volleyball. So make sure you follow MCTV on social media. To do that, just type in at MCTV Social and, follow us. And that way you'll be apprised and aware of all the upcoming Raptors sports events that will be broadcast by MCTV. You can also subscribe to our YouTube channel at Montgomery College Raptors on YouTube. So there you'll find countless games, videos, highlights, player interviews, coach interviews, just all kinds of Montgomery College Raptors content. And the guy sitting right next to me here, Andre, has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, I would also, say the MCTV team, we all do a lot when it comes to the videos and the social, and um, it'd be great if you guys did follow us at MCTV Social, and you'll see a lot of things going on campus, what the students are doing, what the faculty and staff are doing, some of the programs at the school, some of the classes you can take. So, oh, 1 second. There we go. Good job by
Beautiful
Mora.
job by Morrow. Boy, did he clear that.
Wow.
And they knock it out. So the Raptors will get a chance to mount something here. Well, for example, you guys had a cool athletics media day recently.
Yes, we did. We were able to have the all the fall sports. I keep because it's still warm outside. I keep, I'm like, wait, is it fall? It's almost fall. But yeah, the fall sports teams were able to come into the studio. The women's and men's soccer, including the volleyball team, came into the studio. They were able to do a lot of cool different things for promotional purposes, for games, for pictures as well. And these things will be able to be used for the individual accounts for the players and also for the college and MCTV to promote students, faculty, staff, fans to come to the game and check everything out. So it was an awesome opportunity, and I would say one of my favorite times of the year. So
Well, and I've seen a lot of the footage. I know it's still being worked with. It is phenomenal. It, I mean, you know, MCTV just does an amazing job. What a team of people and professionals. It's just a joy to see what you guys turn out. It's whoa.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
That boy, he had some steam on that one.
Yeah.
And Morrow is a little bit fortunate on that one, I think.
Yeah, he is.
That's, we were talking about that technical term for soccer, unlucky. That was lucky.
Yeah.
We were joking about that yesterday because soccer players will often, you'll hear them often say, "Oh, unlucky, unlucky,"
Yeah.
when an opportunity slips away, or a ball just misses the goal or whatever.
And if you guys want to as well, give us a follow at MCTV on Instagram. You will see us actually behind the scenes, doing the commentary, um, working with cameras and all that good stuff. So at MCTV Social on Instagram. I'll give a little wave if you guys want to check it out.
It is. It's an awesome follow. I've been, obviously I used to work full time for the channel. I have retired, but they keep bringing me back. They just can't get rid of me. And I love following what you guys are doing on social and online. It's boy, it just you just keep outdoing yourselves. Just when you think, oh man, this is the best I've ever seen, then you come out with something else that's even better. So
I appreciate that.
more
We all do.
innovative. The camera work, the graphics, the special effects is just it's really amazing.
We all appreciate that.
So back to the action. We are down to the last 5 minutes, first half. Raptors have not been able to score.
Yeah, and the game has definitely turned in Monroe's favor. They've been possessing the ball. This left-hand side has been also a one where the ball has been living most of the second half. It has been a little bit on this right-hand side, as we're seeing, but number 29 for Monroe, Gunha Lee, has been very, very effective every time he touches the ball. So it makes sense why it's been living on this left-hand side.
No, he's a very effective player. A very talented team. Both of these teams are very talented.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, MC has given Monroe a run for the money so far, and it's still only the first half. We have a whole other half to go.
And it's only 1-0.
Yeah, I
So
wouldn't be surprised.
as we've seen all weekend long, the score can change at the blink of an eye. You really cannot take your eyes off the ball because you're going to miss something. But you're right, they are starting to really dominate possession. They've had many more opportunities. They haven't converted but the one, and that was thanks to a yellow card. But they are starting to get very comfortable possessing the ball again. The Raptors' pressure isn't quite what it was early.
Yeah, and that has probably a lot to do with the heat.
I would think so.
But like we both mentioned earlier, we knew that the heat was going to be a factor today, so a game plan might have to change. Maybe in the second half, maybe MC has to be a little more confident on the ball, and so they can hold on to it, move it, pass it, and that will help with them not having to run so much.
Yeah, both teams are playing in the same heat. So
Exactly.
it's a factor for both teams. Ooh. No call.
What?
That was a very dangerous play. And I'm surprised there was no call there. He jumped over his back.
I guess it was a late whistle.
That's number 25, Aris Chanchu, who was leveled. They did call a foul, right?
Yeah, I guess it was a late call.
But no card. So Aris Chanchu got leveled by the Monroe player, and Ish Graywall is going to take the kick. And they have stopped the clock. There goes. Oh, they tried the header and just missed. That was well set up.
Yeah, Amadou Koita's height is going to be something that MC might have to think about, maybe putting him back up top like they did in the first game, or trying to find crosses into him. Seems to be dangerous.
That height is exceptional for soccer. It's not a sport known for tall players, but that height can really be. You'll often see tall keepers.
Oh yeah, usually.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't usually see keepers that are honestly under 6 feet tall because of how big the goal is.
right. And how quickly the ball comes, they have to be able to. That wingspan really helps
It does.
when you're a keeper and you're a tall guy, tall person. Good look there at number 31 for the Raptors. So time winding down here in the first half of the last game of this weekend's Tom Dickey tournament here at Montgomery College, the Rockville campus. Coming to you from the beautiful soccer facility here on campus. 20 seconds to go in the first half. Been a lot of players on the turf today. And of course, the poor players sitting over there in the baking sun.
Oh, I know. They're probably wishing they had one of those things they have in the NFL where they, blast all the cold air on them.
Yes, yes.
That's the next level of sitting on the bench.
And that is the end of the first half. So after 45 minutes of action, the Raptors find themselves trailing 1-0, and tough first half. And we're looking forward to the next 45 minutes. I think, it's anybody's match right now, Andre.
It is. It is. I mean, it's only a 1-0 game. Why can't MC score one? Why can't MC score two? So I think the second half is going to be crucial. This break is actually going to be crucial for the players to cool off for a bit, but very exciting second half to come.
Get out of the sun, get some water, and we will be right back with the start of the second half after a brief break. And the second half of our final game of the Tom Bichy soccer tournament here um, on the Rockville campus of Montgomery College in the soccer complex, alongside my partner Andre Anderson. Tightly played first half, just one goal scored, and thus the score 1-0. Monroe on top as Diago Bastos converted a penalty kick, a free kick for their one and only goal.
Yeah, the game turned pretty physical towards, midway through the second half to the end of the game, and that's what caused one of the fouls. Um, One thing that fatigue brings is a little bit more sloppy plays, a little bit more frustration because you're tired. You can't move as quick as maybe you want to. And because of that, one of the fouls that was called turned into a free kick goal.
And it was converted again by Bastos, and they had another one just moments after that, but the Raptors were able to stop that one.
Yeah, they did. And then Thomas Morrow in goal has been playing amazing. Yes, one goal did go in, but that free kick was almost impossible to stop. He's been playing well. He's been keeping the team in the game. He's been leading the team from the back, so he would look to continue playing as well as he has in the second half.
And he is back out there, and I 100% agree with you, Andre. He has really been the star of the game so far, really for both teams. Um, in fairness to the keeper for Monroe, he really hasn't been challenged. Raptors did have some opportunities in the first half, had a couple of corners. They had some nice attacks, but they were unable to convert.
Yeah, so this game is going to start off in MC's mind. They're going to say, hey, honestly, in both teams' mind, they're going to say it's 0-0. Don't think about, and Monroe's going to say, don't think about that we're winning. Think about that we're tied and we need to go score again. MC's going to think, hey, we're losing, yes, but let's go into this and just play our game. Let's not try to force anything. Let's not try to do anything out of character. And then because of that, slip up and give away another early goal.
There's a whistle. Not sure. I saw the captain for Tal Torgeman make a gesture as in, what was that for? Captain for Monroe, number 9. He scored yesterday against Hartford. As to review again, on Friday, the Raptors tied Harkham 1-1. The Raptors scored a late goal off a corner to tie that one up. Harkham, one of the top teams in the country, of course. And then yesterday, Monroe completely dominated Hartford to take that one 4-0. And Torgeman had one of those goals.
Here goes Monroe early. Oh, no.
This is a bad situation, but Morrow again smothers it. He had a bushel of saves in the first half. A couple that looked coming off the foot of Monroe like they were going to be sure goals.
And this is what Monroe loves to do. These little one-touch, tiki-taka type of style passing. It gets frustrating on the defensive side to see a team look so comfortable and able to pass it around while you're running. So that's part of the game plan, really, to take down MC in the second half. But once again, Morrow is there. And he launches it out for hopefully a fast break.
No, they didn't. They weren't able to pull that off.
Good ball.
Excellent. That's what they like to do.
Yep, find these wingers.
Who love to cross, find the open man inside the 18. We saw this a lot yesterday. That was a dangerous ball. but no one there for Monroe. Monroe, the #1 team in the country, after yesterday's win over Hartford, they are 3-0. They have yet to be scored on this season. Granted, just 3 matches, but still, they have not allowed a goal. The Raptors defense has been stingy as well this season. They are 3-0-1, and they've only allowed 2 goals in their 4 matches. So both teams with good defenses, good goalkeeping. But again, the Monroe keeper has really not been challenged today. Certainly not to the extent that Thomas Morrow has. There's another. Oh, that's a pretty pass.
Oh, wow.
That's a goal. And that goal was by
I believe it was by number 9.
Well, that's Torgerman. And Torgerman, that's his 2nd goal in 2 days. I could not pick up the number. But yeah, it was number 9. That's been confirmed. So obviously this match is streaming, but you'll be able to watch it again or watch any of the matches from this tournament again on MCTV. And there's a couple of, well, three ways that you can do that. First of all, you can visit mctv.info, .info, and go to the program schedule. And there you can watch any of the matches or all of the matches from this tournament on Comcast channels 998 or 10, Verizon channel 10, or RCN channels 1059 or 10. And these matches will be airing numerous times. A little jersey pulling there, no call. So again, go to the MCTV program schedule for air times and air days for the games from this tournament. You can also watch them on the Montgomery College Raptors YouTube channel. And if you go to the YouTube channel, you just find a large amount of videos and from past games, recent games, highlights, interviews, all kinds of things, all kinds of content related to Montgomery College sports. And then, of course, later this season, MCTV will be back with a schedule of additional soccer and volleyball matches. Those will be coming up in September and October. And we'll be doing several volleyball matches and several soccer matches, both men's and women's. So a lot to look forward to in terms of MC athletics on MCTV. So we got 38 minutes to go in this one, still 1-0. 2-0, Raptors trailing. And the way this has gone, they need to score quickly. They need to get on the board.
Yeah.
And there's a push, and that'll be a foul. getting a little chippy out there. Number
Yeah.
2, Cordero just flattened number 14 for the Raptors, Carl Romberg, and then acted like he didn't do it.
That's typical. I would do the same, you know. Hey, ref, I don't know what you're talking about. I plead the fifth.
I believe we call that chutzpah.
But here goes Monroe again. I mean, or they don't need as much as MC needs to get onto the ball. I mean, at this point, it's looking like MC's very tired coming out of that second half.
Yeah.
Because they've been just chasing, the majority of the game.
Yeah, they have, because of that possessive style that no call there. Number 5, Thallinger hit the deck for Monroe. Yeah, the Raptors really need to break through here, and that would give them some life. I think it is very warm, but again, as we said during the first half, both teams are playing in the same conditions, obviously. But there'd be nothing like a goal here for the Raptors to really give them a boost.
Yeah, and I guarantee if they score, every player's fitness and fuel level will go from 45% back to 100.
Absolutely.
So they need that as soon as possible. That was a good ball.
Really good ball. This is what they like to do. Look at that footwork.
Wow.
Taken away.
Great tackle by Brian Newchang, one of the captains on the MC soccer team.
He's a Paint Branch High School grad. And one of the few sophomores on the Raptors team. Good crowd here today, despite the heat. And I see some old familiar faces from Raptors teams of the past years. It's a strong fraternity of former players, particularly under Coach Pedro Braz. A lot of the guys have stayed in touch with the program, and they'll come back. There's a shot way high. They'll come back for games whenever they can. So kind of a special fraternity for you ex-players, isn't it, Andre?
It is. It is. I mean, we all got to experience something special together, especially from the earlier years when I played in 2013, making it to nationals, having a very good year that year, being ranked number 3 in the nation. You can definitely see why, we keep coming back and supporting the school that we went to and we played at.
And of course, now you're coming back to this beautiful on-campus facility, something that was sorely needed, and boy, did the college deliver. This facility is just state of the art. It's the envy of just about everyone who comes here to play because it's a great surface, really nice stands, great accommodations for the players, locker rooms right here at the field level, training rooms, concession stand area, and speaking from for MCTV, we love it because we've got this great press box with a very nice camera bay on top. As a matter of fact, the field was designed with the help of MCTV.
Wow.
They consulted us in terms of all kinds of issues, from lighting to where cables would be run, and where we could park the production van, truck, and all those sorts of things. So they took television. They had television in mind when they designed this facility.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I mean, this field is incredible. It's come a long way in the last 10 years or so. So I'm very ecstatic for the players now and the future players of Montgomery College who are to play on a field just like this. And
Ooh, that was a close one there. Raptors still down.
yeah, it seems to be possible head injury. So they're definitely going to stop this. But this also gives everybody an opportunity to get a water break as well, as it's very hot outside.
Nice gesture of sportsmanship there by the keeper for Monroe.
Yeah, checking up on him, making sure that he's okay.
They collided in midair going for the ball, and here comes the trainer. Cannot tell who is down for the Raptors, but he's holding his head, and that's not a good sign. Got a different keeper in for the second half for Monroe. It's Alvaro Ramos. Yamasaki played the first half in net for the Mustangs. And that is number 15, Daniel Minhas. He's another export from Canada.
Yeah, I think there's about 4 or 5 Canadians on the team. It's awesome to see.
Yeah, and players from all over the world for the Raptors. Obviously, the same is somewhat true for Monroe, but the Raptors have players from Canada, Brazil, England, Germany, Colombia, Japan, Italy. It's really a United Nations. Guinea.
Couple Americans as well.
So Minhas is my guess. I'm guessing we may not see him again.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, head injuries are definitely not one to play with. So I guarantee they're gonna at least, have a thorough check to make
Oh
sure
yeah,
he's okay.
he will definitely go through protocol, and let's just hope that it's not a serious injury. Just hopefully he's a little bit stunned by the collision, and hopefully he's all right. But there is a strict concussion protocol for soccer. It's you know people don't think of soccer being a sport where concussions could be a problem, but it's really is can happen.
Oh yeah, I mean even just heading the ball,
Exactly.
over and over. It's good ball.
Oh, beautiful ball. Here's an opportunity for the Raptors. Romberg, awesome mark.
Wow, that was incredible. And it seems like Ish Singwall, is it I'm sorry if I
Yeah,
said his name wrong.
Gray wall.
Sing Graywall, excuse
Yeah.
me, has moved from the defense, playing at the center back, left back position, to playing midfield. So it was impressive to see him kind of be versatile right there, be the defender, play a through ball in, which almost created a goal.
Yeah, he had a great run, and then he put a nice ball right on the foot of Romberg, who was getting ready here for the corner. That's MC's best opportunity of the day by far, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yes, it was. Now they got to be careful here.
Ooh,
Gee.
there comes a yellow card. So that's on Andreas Rojas. Raptors have had 3 yellows.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 4 or 5.
It may be 4.
Yeah.
They had 2 back to back in the first half. And of course, the danger is you don't want to pick up a second because then you will have to leave the game and you won't be able to play the next one.
Yeah. Now it looks like the ref is. Oh, never mind. Thought he was gonna do something, talk to the coach or something, but doesn't seem like it.
Down goes number 10, Aruda, and another yellow card. Oh, this is a red card.
Oh, wow.
This is a red card. And they called that on Amadou Koita. And so off the pitch, he has to go. Aruda is still down. And here comes the trainer for Monroe. 30 minutes to go. I don't think there's any way in that was intentional. I think it was just he was aggressively going after the ball.
Yeah, got there a bit late.
Got there a bit late.
And that's probably just what it was.
Ish Graywall is talking to the official. And Koita is not, boy, that's a big loss for the Raptors because he is one of their offensive threats. And of course, now the Raptors have to play shorthanded.
Yeah, shorthanded for 30 minutes in this heat versus a team that's going to make you run doesn't sound like something that they hoped for, planned for, want to do, but it is what it is, and they have to continue. They have to move forward. They have to find a way to still win this game.
And the last thing they needed was to be a man down. But that's the penalty for a red card. Not only do you get ejected from the game, but your team has to play shorthanded. So it's 10 Raptors out there now, including the keeper. And we'll see if Monroe takes advantage of that situation. Now, the Raptors did score here's a...
Oh!
Now, Romberg gets...
And that could be a red card right there. That could be a red card right there.
And that is what Ish, the captain for the Raptors, is asking for.
Red card.
And it's a red.
Wow.
So, the Monroe player now.
Yeah, so that was a red card mostly because he was the last defender. So if there's a one-on-one situation and basically the forward or whoever it is, the player gets pulled down and he's the last man, it's always going to be a red card.
Because, in other words, the thinking on is that the only reason you pulled him down is otherwise you had a goal.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, it was out of desperation. We did not see the number of the athlete who was ejected with the red card because he immediately took his jersey off. So we did not catch the number. Obviously, it was most likely a defender.
Yeah, one of the two center backs. He didn't want us to call us out. Call him out.
So Romberg.
All right, well, back to even amount of players. One player less on each team also gives, the game a lot more space as well. So
that is true. It does open up the surface, the playing surface. Each team now with 10, 9 on the attack, and a keeper. Yeah, nobody's complaining about that call because you perfectly explained it, Andre. It was a desperation foul. Here comes Romberg again. He is very aggressive out there.
He is.
Raptors controlling it. Now they're going to set up again.
That's all right. I mean, that's something that Monroe would even do. You know, it's like
Absolutely.
if no one's open, why just kick it? Why just cross it? Now, being that close to the goal, you don't necessarily want to get there and then have to bring the ball all the way back. But from what they've been doing, and MC hasn't really been holding on to the ball too well, so that does show a little bit of promise moving into the last 28 minutes of this game.
We get a good look at head coach Pedro Braz. He's talking with Cesare Bichy, who's going to do the throw in. He gets it in. The ball into the box. Try to head it. And another Raptor down. And he hasn't gotten up.
This game's getting a little bit rough.
Yeah, it is. I cannot. Holding his back. And that's number 24. That's Biaggi again.
It looks like 26.
Oh, maybe it is 26. It is Pietro Severini. They're both from Italy.
Yeah, yeah.
But he looks like he's okay now. He's moving fine. There's a breakaway. Oh, great pass.
Oh,
Very, very close. Boy, that was dangerous. That was a great run there by Monroe.
yeah. They stick to their game plan. Find the midfielders, center midfielders, get the ball wide, look to cross it back.
Yes.
That's what they do every time.
Yeah. It's predictable in a way, but it's their precision with it is impressive.
Very much so. I mean, I think the best way, honestly, after, a game and a little more half of watching them play up close, the best way to beat a team like this is you have to clog the middle. You can't let their midfield three.
There's Graywall again with a nice ball.
Oh, man. Yeah, but you can't let their midfield three get onto the ball because once they do, they're way too comfortable. These guys are too skillful. They get it. See, look, here we go again. And they just dictate it.
They really do dictate the pace of the game, don't they? With their possessive style.
Yep, they'll go as fast or as slow as they want. And then when they're ready to really speed it up, it's going to the wingers. And then it's a one-on-one battle every time.
Yep. And there's always a trailer coming into the middle.
Yep.
Sometimes two.
Yep. See, here they go again.
Let's see what they do. Aruba.
Takes his time. He says, oh, that didn't work out that well. But
wide pass that time.
They'll do the same thing. They're not looking to do a through ball down the middle. It's going to be a ball out wide to the end line, cross back.
Substitution for the Raptors, number 17, Lonnie Belay in. I believe that's the first we've seen Lonnie today. And he comes in for Brian Newchang. Brian, I think, has played just about every minute of the match.
Yeah, he usually does. He's a solid defender, a leader, a captain of this team. MC's lucky to have him.
They really are. He's a great guy. Sadly, I believe he has to leave because there is a memorial service for his father. I believe that's what we were told. And my apologies if I am speaking out of turn or if I'm incorrect, but it does look like he's leaving. Not only did he come out of the game, but he's leaving the field. So,
ooh, good tackle.
Beautiful tackle. and that was number 26, Severini.
Seems like his back's okay now.
Yeah, he seems to be fine.
Yeah.
Temporary, whatever it was. Delay with the shot, with a long ball. Time running down. Raptors are running out of time here. Just over 23 minutes to go. And again, Monroe in absolutely no hurry.
No hurry at all.
Unless they see something, they spot an opening, then they will jump right on it. But they're more than happy to pass it back and forth. And on a 95-degree day, chasing that ball gets mighty tiresome.
Oh yeah. 10 minutes in. If it was me, it'd be 5 minutes, but that's why I'm in the booth right now.
I feel a little guilty that we're so comfortable up here. But not too guilty.
Yeah, well, you know, I mean, hey, I'll take it.
What do we got here? A corner. Yeah, corner. Corner coming up for Monroe. This is a dangerous situation, of course. And number 37's taking the kick. That's Tanaka. See what he does with it. Oh, he's being replaced now by Aruda.
Yeah, they take their own sweet time. Wow, that is no. Oh, PK.
That's a foul in the box, inside the 18. So it's a yellow card on Sanchez. So that is going to be a PK. And wonder what the odds on these PKs are. It's got to be. It's so heavily in favor of the offensive player, I would think.
It is, but I will say it's a lot harder than people think.
Oh, absolutely.
It's
And you don't have a lot of room to work with,
You
for
don't.
one thing.
Especially if you kick it. It's a 50-50 chance each side, you know, as a kicker and as a goalie. And if those 50-50 chances equal, you know, the 100, and they, let's see right here, and I'll
There we
explain.
go, Aruda.
Oh.
He got his hand on it, but it deflected into the net.
Yeah, so.
So
water
Aruda
break.
makes it 3-0 now on the PK.
And they're gonna take a quick water break.
Monroe, 3-0.
But back to the penalty kick. It's like the thing about it is if you go straight to the right and then the goalie dives to the right, it obviously becomes much harder then because you then have to kick it perfectly either, you know, in the corner, low in the corner, or, you know, upper 90 in the corner, and to do that is very difficult. So it's obviously a lot easier when the goalie dives the wrong way.
Right, because a lot of times the goalie has to commit.
Yeah,
I mean,
you gotta guess.
and it's a guess.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you can pick up, signals,
Mhm.
body language. Maybe you watch the guy. It'd be interesting to talk to a keeper about their strategy. What are they looking at? Are they looking at his eyes, his feet,
Mhm.
his waist?
Mhm.
What are they looking at? Or maybe all of them. I don't know. But it's a high pressure situation for both of them because we've seen plenty of PKs missed.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Big time too in like professionals.
Yeah.
I'm
World Cup situations.
Don't get me started with
Yeah.
that. But but yeah, it's not as easy as it looks. So, you know, it's pick a corner, try to drive it as hard as you can into literally the corner and hope the goalie goes the wrong way, or if he does guess the right way, hopefully he's enough power behind the ball to where he can't get there.
And I know, it's almost a no-win situation for both of them, really,
Mhm.
because if the keeper you know, allows the goal, let's use the word allows, you know, I'm sure they feel terrible. You
Yeah.
know, uh, I've talked to keepers who've been in those situations, and they blame themselves. And
Mm.
but meanwhile, they didn't foul the guy inside the 18 to
Yeah.
set up the PK.
Yeah, yeah.
You
That's a
know,
good point. I didn't think of it necessarily like that.
yeah,
So they're the ones getting put under pressure when they didn't even do anything.
right. So all of a sudden, if they got the weight of the world on their shoulders because one of their teammates fouled somebody inside the 18.
Yeah, it's a good. Ah, so maybe I was a little mean to my goalie back in. You know.
At the same time, if a guy if the offensive guy misses the kick, oh my gosh, they got to feel terrible.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's.
Because everybody thinks it's easy,
Yeah.
but like you said, is anything but easy. And it sounds trite to say it, but boy, you gotta have the right aim,
You do.
and you gotta make great contact.
You do. And you have to have nerves of steel
Yep,
because at the end of the day, it's a one-on-one type of situation. So it's not.
everybody's watching you.
Hey, it's not for everyone.
Nope, everybody's watching you. And again, people I think naturally expect, oh, he's going to make it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're going to make it. Now, in this case, Aruda did. But Morrow did get a hand on it, which you don't even see that all that often. So he almost stopped it. Great effort. But nonetheless, it's 3-0 Mustangs with 22 minutes to go in the match. Our final match of the day, our final match of the Tom Bichy soccer tournament. Of course, the tournament held in honor of Tom Bichy, the former longtime men's soccer coach, athletic director, professor here at Montgomery College. He had a storied career, was the first soccer coach at Montgomery College. It's no exaggeration to call him the founder, the father, the godfather of soccer here at Montgomery College. He was here for 37 years, and when he retired with 471 career wins, which at the time made him the #1 most winningest soccer coach in the history of the NJCAA. And even now, 18 years after he retired, he is still in the top 10.
Legend.
He is an absolute legend. And, you know, people throw that word around sometimes, but it's very appropriate for Tom Bichy. And not to mention, just a great guy. Absolutely great guy. Friendly man, kind man. He could be tough out there,
Yeah.
on the field.
That's good though.
But he had a big heart. He cared about his players, and maybe one of the best parts of his whole career is that when he got the job, was given the job, he was hired as assistant baseball coach, and then they said, "Oh, by the way, we're going to start a soccer program, and you're going to be the first coach." And Tom was like, "What?" But he dove right into it. And he taught himself the game. He was a student of the game. He afforded himself of every opportunity to learn the game. He never stopped learning, never stopped going to clinics. And the proof's in the pudding.
Oh, for sure. With that many wins, I mean,
471 career wins.
that is
It's something else.
incredible.
Really amazing. Unfortunately, Tom was taken from us way too soon, and he never had, for example, he never had an opportunity to see this facility, and boy, would he have loved it. In my way of thinking, this facility is part of his legacy.
Definitely is. Definitely is.
So we're inside the 20-minute mark now. And the Raptors just aren't able to break through. That 3-0 deficit is really looming large. Comes another attack. There they go out to the winger. Lee. He's been a thorn.
Another PK.
Oh my goodness.
Goodness.
That's another foul in the box. And that's going to set up another PK. That hurts. Foul on Bichy. And we'll see who's going to take it.
Looks like their captain, Thiago Jose de Silva.
Yep, that's exactly who it is, number 8. And he bangs it in. Monroe. So that's 2 PK goals in the last 4 minutes. And that makes it 4-0. And at this point, it's becoming almost insurmountable.
Yeah, this is, I mean, we're definitely looking at, has to be a team that's going to push again for a back-to-back national championship.
Absolutely. You're seeing a team that's definitely going to be there at the end of the season. But I would wager the Raptors are going to be on their schedule again at some point.
I think so. I think so. MC is definitely a team that, just like last year, maybe known for starting a little bit slow, which is something I know they definitely don't want. But if you're going to start slow and end hot,
that's the way to do it.
Yeah, I'd rather it be that way.
That's the way to end.
Yeah.
Rather than burst out of the box and then, wilt down the stretch. And again, I think, we don't want to make excuses, but the Raptors had so much turnover from last year. Again, only 7 sophomores on the roster. It's a very young team. There's no way they have gelled after 3 matches.
No, there's no way. I mean, they're still trying to figure it all out. I mean, we saw Amadou play center back in the first half and then play forward in the second half.
So yeah, Coach Braz is moving players around, trying to find out who can give him what at what position, and and they're still learning to know. They're still getting to know each other. You've got language barriers. They just haven't spent that much time together yet.
Yeah.
So again, we're not trying to make excuses, but I think these are irrefutable facts that it's a young team, and I guarantee you, knowing Coach Braz as I do and as you do because you played for him, this team is only going to get better.
Yes, they will. Yes, they will.
I've never seen an MC team under Coach Braz that didn't. And that's why after just 6 seasons as a head coach, he's got almost 100 career wins. And again, he plays the toughest schedule that he can possibly play. They're in Maryland JUCO. There are a lot of good teams in Maryland JUCO. The Raptors are one of just 3 teams in Maryland JUCO, however, who are D1. So that's always a factor in the national rankings. Beautiful center.
Wow.
And Lee just missed it.
That was an incredible run down the right-hand side by Kino.
Yeah. Kino has been impressive this weekend, too. And we've seen some four-year school scouts here this weekend, too, haven't we, Andre?
We have. So just because you're playing at the junior college level doesn't mean that these players aren't top players in the country. We've seen D1 coaches um, throughout the last couple of days, and
There's Lee, and he bangs it in. Dunha Lee.
terrific player.
5-0 Monroe.
And that makes it 5-0 now, as the Raptors are wilting a bit here in the heat. They've allowed 3 goals now, 2 on PKs, but 3 goals in the last 6 minutes. That makes it 5-0. So now both coaches will start to make some substitutions, I would predict. Give some of the non-starters an opportunity to get some minutes in. And also rest their players, because the Raptors come right back on Tuesday and resume their regular their schedule. They've got PG, Prince George's Community College, coming in here on the 5th at 7 o'clock under the lights. And that is a key Maryland JUCO match, and as you well know, Andre, one of MC's biggest rivals.
Oh yeah,
George's.
yeah. That's a game that you always circle on the calendar, circle on the schedule. You don't want to lose that one. And you know it's going to be high intensity from the beginning. So I'm gonna be there. I'm gonna go to the game, check it out. Hopefully MC can bounce back after a performance like this, and next couple of days rest, but bounce back versus PG and get a win.
Yeah, PG is always has a strong team, and those matches are always tough. I covered many of the Prince George's Montgomery match during my time at MCTV, and it doesn't matter what sport it is, it's always intense, but soccer seems to be a whole different level.
Yeah, it does. It does. I think the rivalry has built up in the soccer community there, and you tend to play a lot of players that so you're over here playing for MC, then you might play against some of your buddies over at PG. So when that happens too, it's even more fun and even
more intense.
Yeah, even more reason you want to win.
Right, there's more on the line because it's something personal going on.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's always a great match. So we look forward to that as Montgomery gets into their Maryland JUCO part of their schedule. Although they did play Cecil already and Catonsville, and those are Maryland JUCO teams as well.
Wow.
Corner, and another shot.
Another goal.
And another goal. And that is number 16, Henrique Labato. First we've called his name today.
Yeah, assisted by Lee from across. He headed it back. That was very clever by him to do that. I would have tried to go for goal. but very clever.
So this one is getting out of hand, and it's a shame. Doesn't diminish take the luster off the weekend. However, it's been a great weekend of soccer, a real showcase for NJCAA soccer, both men's and women's. We've seen some great performances. Um, it's just really been a great weekend of soccer, and
Yeah.
Tom Bichy would approve.
Weather held up as well. No
Beautiful.
rain.
No rain, which is kind of rare.
Yeah.
There have been Biccy tournaments where it was you thought it was monsoon season. Um,
Think you're in Florida.
yeah, we. I remember the first Tom Biccy tournament we covered um, years ago, and they had to stop our game. Our first game, it was a Friday night game under the lights. They had to stop it because of lightning. Everybody had to get out of the stands because the stands are metal, so you definitely don't want to be sitting in the stands when the lightning is all around. And they did resume the game, and MC ended up winning it.
I never liked, the rain and the lightning delays. I feel like it always, as a player, it always threw me off.
Oh, absolutely. I would think it would is definitely
Uh,
not something you would like at all because you know you run the risk of tightening up.
exactly.
You lose your mojo a little bit. You know. Um,
Yeah. After you warm up, get all excited, then you have to just sit down, and then they say, "Oh, don't worry, you can just warm up again." No, no, it's not the same.
no, it's not the same.
It's not the same.
And sometimes players will tend to maybe not warm up well enough, and you could run the risk of pulling a muscle or something. With all the sprinting that these guys do. So anyway, we're just about at the 10-minute mark. But no rain this year to contend with. I guess the one thing we could complain about, or well, players could complain about, we can't, is that it was pretty hot today.
It was. And we also are seeing first bit of clouds this weekend as well. You got a couple up there.
But I mean, that's basically it. It's like wispy clouds.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
It's not shielding the players from the sun.
No.
So Monroe, we learned something about them yesterday. There's Morrow. They are from the Bronx in New York. They do not have a field.
Yeah, that is odd, but I mean it's New York, so not much grass going on in New York really.
No, in the Bronx, if you know anything about New York, the Bronx is definitely like a concrete canyon.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
it's a lot of people in a fairly small area. So apparently they play most, if not all of it. Well, they play all of their games on the road.
As a player, I would love that. I'll be like, hey, we're in Florida this week. We're in, South Carolina next week. It does take a toll on the body though, always having to be on the move, always having to kind of like not be able to sleep in your own bed and
Right,
things like that.
right. Yeah,
Hotel food isn't always the best.
no, and sometimes you're not eating hotel food. You're
Yeah.
eating something even worse.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but it doesn't seem to affect these guys. So,
Well, it's a testimony to how well funded they must be to be able to play a full schedule of road games.
yeah. Yeah.
We talked about earlier their first two games of the season. They traveled to South Carolina.
Mm-hmm. And now they're in Maryland and
Now they're in Maryland. I believe Pedro Braz told us they're going to Florida soon as well.
yeah.
So clearly a well-funded program. and a very successful one. But they have pretty much cleared the bench, as have the Raptors. Raptors with some fresh faces out there.
There goes Lee again.
Oh, he's just been.
Yeah.
He is a dynamic player.
What a ball.
And, what a stop by Morrow. I'll tell you what. It may be 6-0, but Thomas Morrow should hold his head high. I think he's played very well.
He has. I mean, it could easily be 10 by now.
Oh, for sure. I mean that shot right there is going to go past the majority of keepers. And you talk about being on the hot seat.
Yeah.
Not only that, but keepers wear a full, they're completely covered, arms and legs, because they're hitting the turf so often.
Mm-hmm.
So I would imagine that getup is a little bit warm.
Oh, yeah.
Like this,
Yeah.
even though, with all the new age fabrics and everything, the breathable and fabrics and all, but still.
Yeah, it's going to be hot regardless. At least he's not wearing a black.
No.
Like the Monroe keeper.
The Monroe keeper is head to toe black. Except
Yeah.
He's not wearing his knees aren't covered.
Yeah, he's wearing just the socks. So at least his knees will have some breeze.
Yeah. But they're going to take a beating on this turf.
Mm-hmm.
Almost at the 5-minute mark. So the Raptors appear destined to drop their first match of the season. And Monroe will continue to stay undefeated, and unless the Raptors score in the next 5 minutes, they will have they'll be not only 4-0, but they will have not allowed a goal in any of those 4 matches. So talk about getting off to a good start on the season.
Yeah, I mean, this is exactly what they want. After, a weekend like this, playing 2 more games, teams will definitely look up their schedule, see more goals, no goals scored on again. They're looking really threatening. I mean, I don't know what else to say, and I haven't seen any other teams really, in the nation, stuff like that. But can there be anybody better than this?
I don't know. This is one of the best JUCO teams I've seen. I've seen a lot of JUCO soccer over the years. This is definitely one of the best teams I've seen. I remember a few years ago in the Bichy tournament, there was a California team.
Oh, wow.
In the field from Mount San Antonio.
Mount San Antonio.
Yeah, and they were very, very good too. And then another Bichy tournament, there was Coach Braz invited Richland from Texas. That was another really, really strong program. The coach had been there forever, and they've won a couple of national championships.
Okay.
Yeah. There's Lee again. He just sort of has his way out there, doesn't he?
He does. He kind of glides on the ball. It doesn't look like he's running too fast, but I guarantee it's a lot faster than he looks. But it's a close dribbling. Like every time he gets the ball, it's close to him.
He's a freshman.
Oh my goodness.
I assumed he was a sophomore until I just now checked, and
Yeah.
he is a freshman. he's playing like a sophomore.
Oh yeah, I mean he's playing like a fourth-year player, you know, like
He really
this
is.
man has a lot of experience, composure, class, great player, great
I
player.
would assume he's going to get a lot of looks from four-year school.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
He definitely is.
Yeah, they got to be drooling over a guy like that. He's fast, great footwork, under control. As you said, he almost looks like he's gliding when he's running. It's almost effortless. Nice takeaway there by Belay. Raptors still playing hard. Absolutely. Coach Braz would expect nothing less.
Oh, and I know that for sure.
He doesn't care what the score is.
Nope.
He wants to see effort,
Yep.
and he's getting it. This is not a team that's hanging their head, and they won't hang their head. That's not permitted either, is it?
Not at all. The second he sees that,
It
not
tells
gonna,
him a lot about a player,
it
right?
does. It does. And I know that the players, you know, no one likes to be down 6-0, but you have to understand that it's still early in the season. Oh, wow.
Wow, that was pretty.
Wow.
Ooh.
Oh, wow.
Oh, we get the
backflip.
double flip there by number 20, Panache Makako. So we not only got a goal, but we got a little bit of gymnastics on top of it.
Is that a winter sport or is that a fall sport?
It's a summer Olympic sport.
Summer sport. Okay.
But I'm telling you, I'm grading him down on that. He didn't really stick the landing.
Yeah, so like a B minus.
Yeah.
Okay. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But I also can't do that as well, so A
No,
plus.
no, it's been a while since I've done flips. As in never.
Yeah.
All right, we are approaching the 1 minute mark
1 minute, 1 minute.
of the 2023 Tom Bichy soccer tournament here from the Rockville campus of Montgomery College. Been a pleasure being here all weekend. And like I said earlier, I look forward to more games later this fall on MCTV. We'll have more soccer and volleyball coming up, broadcast coming up. And so keep an eye on MCTV Social, at MCTV Social, for the schedule of games coming up. And if you haven't seen volleyball, a volleyball broadcast, that is a lot of fun. Very fast moving sport. Oh, would have been nice to get on the board. But it shot as wide of the mark, and that is going to be the end of our match.
Monroe 7, Montgomery 0.
So that is the end of our match and the end of the Tom Bichy tournament for 2023. And Monroe takes this one convincingly, 7-0 over the Raptors. It really got out of hand here in the last 20 minutes, Andre.
It did. But I mean, hey, Monroe looks like, you know, the powerhouse of the NJCAA. You don't want to lose to anybody, especially by the amount of goals that Monroe beat MC by. But this is one of those games. Let's just put it behind us. Let's just move forward and let's just think about the next one, which is versus PG on Tuesday.
Absolutely. I think that's the best advice for the Raptors. I have no doubt that's what they will do. I have no doubt that will be the message of their head coach, Pedro Braz. This team will not hang their head. If I were Prince George's, I'd be very wary of this coming Tuesday when the Raptors face them at 7 o'clock right here on the Rockville campus at this facility, because the Raptors will be looking to get healthy real quick.
Oh, yeah, and looking to bounce back as well. And so the next opponent, hey, you're in the way, so we'll see.
So anyway, for everyone here, the wonderful crew of MCTV, I want to thank you guys so much for inviting me back and for giving me the opportunity to and the pleasure to call these games. And Andre, I want to thank you so much. Andre has been a terrific partner all weekend long. I couldn't have done it without him. So for everyone at Montgomery College Television, at Montgomery College, thank you so much for watching the Tom Bichy Tournament on MCTV.